Hello, and welcome to the Poverty Franchise Podcast. This is a podcast by two very sad baseball fans talking about baseball, everything about it, the MLB, shit we like, shit we don't like. My name is Steven.
And Johnny is here, as always.
And we've got should be a fun episode today. First, we're going to talk about spring training. That started since our last episode. A lot of stuff's happened since our last episode.
Yes, we've fallen way behind.
Yeah, our last episode was... We've been having some issues getting it edited. There's been audio issues. We got a guest on, and we recorded in the same room without realizing our mics be picking up each other, and there's echo problems. And I've got one of my buddies who's majored in audio production working on it right now. I tried to do it. It was just tedious and awful, but we're working to get that fixed and get that uploaded for you because it was a fun episode. It was right after the whole Astros scandal happened.
That was a really good episode too, so I was like, damn, of course it had to happen with that episode, but just keep in mind there's like at least a few weeks between that episode and this one, so we're not going to talk about everything that's happened because we were doing episodes pretty much every week. So we're kind of just going to skip ahead, obviously.
Yeah. And that episode will be dated when it comes out, but it's fun. It's a good time. I had a blast doing it. I had a blast talking with London.
Oh, yeah.
Fan of the show. Love him to death.
Yeah.
But today we'll be talking about spring training, and then we're going to dive into the life of Rube Waddell, who, thanks to a podcast I listened to, a history podcast actually, called The Dollop, has become my favorite historical player, from the dead ball era, and quite possibly one of my favorite players of all time.
Yes.
Johnny has never, I guess, really doesn't know a ton about him.
No.
So I'm gonna be introducing him, and I think this will be it'll be a fun episode.
It'll be a learning experience for us all.
Absolutely. But first off here, spring training.
Yes.
What's been piquing your interest here about spring training?
Yes. Well, like I said before we started the show, and this happened a couple weeks ago. So obviously all the players are down in Florida for spring training.
And
Arizona, that's true. Well, this one happened in Florida, so I keep and the Orioles play in Florida, so I never think about Arizona.
Fair.
But one of the Blue Jays players, catcher Reese McGuire, who he came up partway through last year and had some decent numbers, but was not apparently, because he was actually found jerking off in his car in a Dollar General parking lot down in Florida. So
look, man, we've all been there,
right? Well, yeah. I mean, I it's just that's the type of thing he's never gonna live that down from teammates and stuff. And I really,
no, of course not.
I mean, I don't really know. I mean, how much trouble he's gonna get in, because I mean, I just don't know if you have to register as a sex offender for that type of thing. But I get every now and then you get horny. I mean, everybody gets horny every now and then, but it's he didn't have he didn't have tinted windows, and apparently it's a lot of foot traffic around that area. So I'm just if you're gonna do that, if it's that desperate, just go park far away from people. A woman, he got caught because a woman saw him, and then obviously was freaked out, and then he got arrested and admitted to it. But I mean, I guess I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. I haven't followed up on that. So
yeah. Could it be one of those things where so I know some people are just into that, doing it in public.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, if you're a professional baseball player, I mean, granted, he's a minor league player, right? He's a prospect still.
I mean, he has some major league time. He played with the Blue Jays last year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, he might be on like a minimum salary or
Yeah.
something. So, I mean, he
Oh,
has
yeah.
the money to like maybe get a hotel, but I don't know. I feel like that might be like one of those situations where they just
Yeah, I mean
into
that's
doing it in public.
pretty goofy, and I mean, it's kind of just like like I said, like a woman saw him. And it's like, I mean, no one wants to see that shit, but especially like
Oh yeah,
women.
no,
Women don't want to see that shit, and like,
yeah, no.
I mean, children. Obviously, there could be children around, which is like pretty creepy. I don't know. I mean,
Yeah, and I'm not, I guess, justifying it at all.
right? Yeah. No, I know what you're saying.
Obviously, um, indecently exposing yourself to people who aren't um, consenting and to that, and to minors who cannot consent to that is fucked up.
Yep.
I hope that comes across here.
He
But
just
yeah, no, that's
he just had to crank it. So
crank your
you
hawk
know,
sometimes, man.
yeah.
Just
Sometimes
do
you just
it.
gotta crank up the old hog, but sometimes you get caught and arrested. So lesson
Awful.
learned.
Yeah, no, don't do that in public ever again. If you're
Yes.
listening to this, what was his name? I already forgot his name.
It's Reese McGuire.
Reese McGuire. Yeah, don't do that, please.
Yes.
Not related to Mark McGuire, I'm assuming.
I don't think so. It
That'd
wouldn't.
be funny if
It
there
would not
was-
surprise me, considering the Blue Jays have every fucking
Yeah,
dynasty player.
every son of.
I don't think McGuire has a son though. I don't know. I have no idea.
That'd be hilarious though, if like everyone else's son is like going off in the pros, and there's just
Yeah.
this no-name guy.
There he
who's
is,
the son of Mark McGuire,
beating his schmeat.
who's jerking off.
Yeah.
That's how he's getting his fame.
Yeah.
8 games with extra base hits in 11 in his first 11 games. Nah, he's jerking off in a Dollar General parking lot.
Absolutely.
I guess my what I want to talk about is not really directly related to baseball. But you did. I don't know if I sent you the tweet, but the shit with Madison Bumgarner, where it came out that he used an alter ego to perform in rodeos while he was like during his career.
Oh,
Did you hear
right.
about that?
Yes, and was it Mason Saunders or something?
Mason
Like,
Saunders, yes.
Yeah.
And
That's
he
funny.
reported he's won like $22,000 competing in rodeos.
Bro, my dude is like hustling on the side. I mean, like I've expressed like, kind of like annoyance with Madison Bumgarner in the past
Yeah.
because he's just been like kind of a piss baby when like people bat flip or whatever. But like, that's kind of funny. Like,
Oh,
it's like Ron Swanson and Duke Silver, like.
yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I that dude's like definitely super competitive, especially since he's like winning money in rodeos on the side, and like, didn't he also like do like dirt biking shit and like in the past too, like.
Yeah, I think he got
hurt,
injured
like-
because of that actually. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, the dude's like definitely a competitor. I gotta give him props for this, honestly. Just like having a whole alter ego, and I mean that's like the good thing about being a baseball player. Like you're not like, I mean, unless you like know about baseball a lot, like he just kind of looks like a regular guy, so he can just go and do that type of shit, which is pretty funny.
Yeah, definitely blends in with us white folk. Just, his name's Mason Saunders. You don't fucking think twice about that.
Nope. I wouldn't
yeah,
question
no.
it.
Yeah, God, imagine having. Well, he still has the record for like lowest career like ERA in the postseason, right? With like .41 or some bullshit like that, or World Series ERA.
Yeah, probably something like that. I mean,
Yeah.
he's a postseason legend, so.
Yeah, that and fucking competing well in rodeos. That's fucking mind-boggling, man. Like, I couldn't imagine like not getting my competitive like fill from being one of the most
Baseball.
dominant pitchers in the game.
Yeah.
in a professional sport.
Well, he's
That
won
most
like
people watch.
what 3 World Series or just 2? But it's like, yeah, he's he's just a rodeo man. So what can you say?
He's a country boy.
He really is. So
Country boy's my dude.
I kind of have a newfound level of respect for Madison Bumgarner now. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah. Besides the fact that he probably is racist, but you know what?
Oh, that's not fair. You're from Texas.
What do you mean? What are you talking about?
Well, I assume what is he doing rodeos in Texas? Is he from Texas? I
No,
don't
he's from North Carolina.
know. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
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 I guess that makes sense
Nah,
too.
he's Appalachia country. He's not
Oh,
South
okay.
country.
He's mountain yee yee. He's not plains
He's
yee yee.
he's meth head yee yee.
Okay. So
Uh, anyways, let's see. Anything else?
I'd like to think there's a few nice gay cowboys out there, you know.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Anyway, one more thing about spring trading. Loving the videos of Astros players getting booed relentlessly.
Oh,
That's very
dude.
fun.
I saw a video today of it was George Springer going to bat and they're booing the shit out of him.
Yes, and he swung and missed and like fell down. Yeah.
Bro, he tried to show him up so bad. I would have been honestly, as much as I hate the Astros right now, that would have been fucking so sick if he had just like first pitch just immediately just fucking like sent a 450-foot rocket center field to
Yeah.
shut everyone up. But God, he swung out of his
Nah.
shoes, whiffed.
They didn't
Yeah,
have the
this-
garbage can, so of course that wasn't gonna happen.
Dude, and here's the thing: is like, I don't know, like. They're all good players. They all. I mean, this has been talked
Yeah.
about. This isn't.
I mean, they're
news,
gonna
like,
be good without the cheating. Like, if I'm speaking realistically, like I hate the whole
Yeah.
cheating thing, and I think they're all like assholes for that. They're still good baseball players though, so it's like, I mean, they're still gonna be a good team. But I'm interested in just seeing how the whole season plays out, and like just how the reactions from away teams are, especially like. I mean, when they go to Yankee Stadium, it's gonna be horrible. You know, it's gonna be
Oh,
so
God,
bad.
yeah.
So I'm like really looking forward to that, just for like drama's sake, you know, because like I mean, Yankees fans are already pretty relentless. So like when they go back now after all that, it's gonna be like a bloodbath, I think. So
Oh yeah. And the craziest thing about this whole thing is I've been a lifelong Yankee hater. Like them and the Astros have been like kind of like equal in my
Right.
eyes.
yeah,
But this has pushed the Astros way over the top. I saw a tweet of a dude that got like a custom Astros jersey that
Yes.
had
kiss
yeah,
the ring.
Kiss the Ring as the last name and then the 69. He said he's gonna wear it at Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, which
I'm
is
like-
I mean, go good, have fun with that, I guess. I just
This is the
I-
first time in my life I've made the 27 ring argument.
Oh yeah.
But I like, dude, you have one World Series win in your franchise's history,
And it's tainted.
and it was proven that you cheated during it.
Yeah.
Like, I love the cockiness in general, and if they hadn't been cheating, I might let it slide just
Yeah.
to like piss off Yankees fans. But you just sound like a fucking idiot, dude. Like,
Yeah.
come on.
It's bad. Yeah. I mean, it's a shame, but you know, it is what it is. It already happened. The punishments have been dealt out, so you just got to see how this season plays out now. It's all we can really do.
All right, yeah. But yeah, I am looking forward to Bregman getting beamed. As long as they don't
Yeah.
get injured, no injuries. We don't condone that shit. I mean, but you know, if they get a little bruisey, they get a little ouchy. You know, I'm okay with that. They're scared to walk up to the plate. Look, you don't get put on the IR for fear.
Yeah.
So, if they're scared walking up there, then that's dope with me.
Yeah. Yeah. But we don't want to talk too much about this because it's already been beaten to the ground on social media. We talked about it a little bit last episode. It hasn't been uploaded yet. But by the time this is uploaded, it will be uploaded. So anyone listening, just forget that I said that.
We gonna get one last whack on that dead horse, baby.
Yes. We got to
We
beat
gonna
it.
be the
Beat
last
it now until more stuff happens during the regular season and we can talk about it even more.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. But without further ado, Let's
Yes.
talk about Rube Waddell.
Educate me. I will be
Educate
listening.
you.
Yep.
So the first thing I want to talk about is I just want to throw some stats out at you.
Okay. So is he a pitcher or a position player?
He's a pitcher.
Okay. So is he similar to like Old Hoss Radbourne?
In not really,
Okay.
because Old
No,
House
that's-
Radbourne was really known just for his, I guess, it's his stamina.
Yeah.
The let me kind of talk a little more about his personality, and I think
Okay.
you'll kind of understand why he's so unique.
All right.
But what I have pulled up here right now, I have Baseball Reference pulled up. I've got Rube Waddell. He pitched from 1897 at the age of 20 until 1910 at the age of 33 is when he retired.
Okay.
I have his stats from 1900 to 1910 pulled up from his age 23 to age 33 seasons.
Yes.
I also have Cy Young's age 23 to 33 seasons. Granted, this was about 10 years before the Rube came in.
Right.
But it's the same age range.
Okay.
And I will preface this with the fact that Cy Young, in that same time frame, has about 1,100 more innings than the Rube does.
Okay.
But, and this is also dead ball era, so strikeouts weren't a big thing at this time.
Yeah.
In 4,000 innings pitched, Cy Young amassed a 3.04 ERA. He had a ERA plus of 138. He amassed about 1,200 strikeouts. A FIP, which... Actually, let me explain some of these stats so that everyone... I know my
Yeah,
partner's
so all
watching
you
and they're not gonna
stupid
understand shit.
motherfuckers can understand what we're talking about.
All right, ERA stands for earned run average. That's the amount of runs on average a pitcher gives up, earned runs a pitcher gives up per 9 innings, which is the stated length of a baseball game. And earned runs means that the hitters, got hits or were walked in order to score those runs. So it wasn't off of errors. This wasn't off of wild pitches. These are runs earned by the hitter. So a 3.04 ERA over that period of time is pretty good.
That's good. Yeah.
That's a very good ERA to have over a 10-year period. His fielding independent pitching is it's a stat that measures a pitcher's effectiveness at preventing home runs, walks, hit by pitches, and causing strikeouts. So it takes the fielding out of the equation of the ERA.
Yeah.
Cy Young's FIP is 3.41. His WHIP, which is walks and hits per inning pitch, is 1.2. And his strikeout per 9 was 2.8. His strikeout to walk ratio was 1.5. The Rube, in the same age range that Cy Young did that, what do you take a stab at what his ERA was in that same period of time?
Oh, maybe I'll say 2.3.
2.13.
Oh, I didn't look, I promise.
He pitched 2,800 innings and got 2,267 strikeouts, which is a strikeout per 9 ratio of 7.1.
Which back then was probably was a lot.
Fucking nuts. In this time frame, this was 100 years ago. Hitting home runs wasn't a thing.
Right.
Really, the idea was to hit the ball into the ground.
Yeah.
So you had a lot of dudes with really high batting averages back in this time frame.
Shout out Ty Cobb.
Yeah, shout out Ty Cobb. Shout out Honus Wagner. And the Rube Waddell was the first strikeout master in the history of the game. He had, I will say, his ERA plus was a little bit lower. This is 135, so it's about the same. This basically takes into consideration the era that a pitcher pitches in, and the ballparks that they pitch in. Basically adjusting it so that people from all eras are on the same playing field. So his ERA plus is pretty much the same as Cy Young's in that same time frame. His WHIP was 1.1. His FIP, his fielding independent pitching, was a 1.99. So his FIP was even better with the fielding out of the consideration.
Yeah.
His strikeout to walk ratio was 2.9, which right now is stupid. Even in today's game, that's fucking stupid.
Oh yeah.
Like, I hope we've put this across that these numbers in this time of the game was insane. People didn't do this.
Yeah.
So, a little bit of biography of the Rube is he was born in 1876 outside Bradford, Pennsylvania. He grew up in the country. Biographer Alan Levy writes that Waddell was a, quote, decidedly different sort of child.
Me too.
Throughout his whole life, he had the maturity of about someone a third of his age. So,
me too. Yeah.
I don't know, same. But basically, he had some sort of mental handicap throughout most of his life that severely impacted him throughout his baseball career, which we'll touch on more. And he was just different.
Is this the term where, like, you ever heard like somebody call someone a rube?
I think that's how he got the name.
Maybe that's
didn't
how
do
he
the
got
research
the
on
name.
that.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, he was just different. At the age of 3, he wandered over to a local fire station and stayed for several days. Throughout his whole life, he has this fascination with fire departments. There were several, like dozens of documented examples where he would try to work for a fire department. He would drop everything he was doing if he saw a fire truck drive by. He would go chase it. This included while he was pitching in baseball games. He would just run off the field and go chase fire trucks.
Bro, I fucking love fire truck.
Dude. So that's going to be a trend with just his entire career. I think it's in my notes here. It talks about it a couple more times.
That's fun.
But yeah, he'd always try to join crews, working fires. Waddell did not attend school very often, but he was considered to be literate. I'm not sure. I mean, this was late 1800s. That wasn't documented. His childhood isn't documented like very well, so we don't have a ton of information. He also grew up in the country, so that played into it a lot as well. He strengthened his arm as a child by throwing rocks at birds he encountered while plowing the family's land.
Well, that's very nice.
And then he also worked mining and drilling sites as a child. So
that's a fun job for a child.
Yeah, no, that was very normal back then. So, that's fine. That's whatever. This isn't in my notes, but I'm remembering this from some other stuff I've read about him. He actually didn't play organized baseball until he was a teenager when he signed with semi-pro teams to compete at that time. I think he went to college for a little bit, pretty much exclusively to play baseball. So he had like no experience playing organized baseball growing up, which, to be fair, it was in its infancy at the time, but just didn't do it. Let me see here. What else can I talk about his childhood? So eventually he played for I forgot what team it was. It was Louisville's team, who I think the owner of that team bought them and then traded all the players to the Pirates. And that's kind of when his career took off in 1900 for the Pittsburgh Pirates. He was playing with Honus Wagner at the same time. And then I believe was traded to the Athletics a couple years later. But let's see here. In 1903, Rube Waddell struck out 302 batters, 115 more than the next runner-up. The following year, he fanned 349 to lead the league by 110. No other pitcher would post back-to-back 300 strikeout seasons until Sandy Koufax did in 65 and 66. And then in 1905, he won the AL's pitching Triple Crown, leading the league with 27 wins, 287 strikeouts, and a 1.48 ERA.
I mean, that's okay.
Yeah, no. And I think
right.
it's whatever, 287 strikeouts is people do that all the time now. And I think right when that happened was when the AL adopted the foul strike rule. I think before that point, foul balls weren't considered strikes. And so that's kind of when his strikeout numbers jumped up a shit ton. The craziest thing about that 1903 season where he struck out 302 batters is that during that season he was injured for part of the season, and he had been suspended on 2 occasions.
Oh, for what?
So, we'll get to that. Otherwise,
Okay.
His biographer says that they might have struck out 375 to 400 batters.
Oh, wow.
And in 1904, when he got to nearly 350, he missed part of the seasons then as well. So he was known, I guess. The thing with the Rube was, and I guess as we've already hinted at, is he had a very eccentric personality. He would oftentimes be very unpredictable. Like I said, during games, he would sometimes, if he saw a fire truck nearby, driving by, he would go chase it.
Right.
While if it was passing by during the game, I think there was a cool little clip here. So during one game, the other team's third base coach started up with his normal banter of, "You bum, you can't pitch, get off the mound." Waddell reportedly looked at the coach with a wounded look on his own face, dropped his glove on the mound, walked out to the outfield, climbed over the fence and into the bleachers next to the fans. Despite the pleas of his teammates, he remained there all afternoon. And it just says, despite his issues, he's considered one of the greatest left-hand pitchers of the earliest 20th century. He would do that. He would sometimes get in fights before games with people in the crowd. He wouldn't come in with like the team entrance in the stadium. He would just like come in the normal entrance and like walk through the crowd. But he would like take people's food and their beer and like drink it all and eat it on the way in. Right. And this is early 1900s. Like, baseball players really aren't that famous yet, and so people are just like, "What the fuck? Why is this asshole just taking my shit?" And he'd get in fights pretty often because of that. He also wouldn't get dressed for the game until he was walking onto the field, like walking up to the mound. He would be getting dressed to go pitch.
Okay.
I guess while we're on the topic of his pre-game rituals, there was reported to be a time when an opposing player, kind of knowing that Rube wasn't the brightest, would tell him that he couldn't make a throw all the way to home center field an hour and a half before the game, and Rube would be out there with this player from the other team for like an hour and a half before the game, just chucking balls to home plate the entire time.
Right.
In an attempt to get his arm worn down before the game.
Well, he was clearly no Rick Ankiel.
Well, he threw a complete game shutout.
Oh.
That time.
So he still did it.
he still
Well,
he did it.
I was implying that he couldn't throw a strike to home plate from center field.
Oh, and I'm sure he did, but the guy was just like,
Oh,
"Oh no,
they're
no,
just
that
tricking
wasn't
him
good
because
enough.
he was
You can't do it again."
stupid.
I mean, it wasn't the brightest.
Right.
Let me see. What was I going to talk about? And I guess touching back to, I guess, related to his ability to his cockiness with his pitching, on top of his intelligence. There were multiple times when he would tell his entire defense behind him to get off the field and just strike the next guy out, just shut him down,
Yeah.
and not give up a hit.
We need some players like this today.
Dude,
Make baseball a little bit more exciting, huh?
do you know how fucking nuts it would be if
Yeah.
someone if that happened like today?
Yeah.
Like fucking Jacob deGrom was like, "All right, yeah, Michael Conforto, just get the fuck out. I don't need you. I'm
Yeah.
gonna fucking mow down this dude right now." Like,
Everybody off the field.
that would be fucking bonkers. That'd be the best thing for the game of baseball. Like, that would get so much publicity.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, there needs to be personalities like this in baseball. Hopefully a little bit smarter, because we'll get into more of his personal issues here in a minute. But yeah, he was insane. He was fucking insane.
Yeah.
Another fun fact about I guess going into stats. So that 1904 season where he struck out 349 guys was the American League record, which was held until Nolan Ryan broke it in 1974.
Ah, classic.
So he had the record for most strikeouts in a season in the American League for 70 years.
Nice.
Yeah, no, incredible. Let me see here. So back to his eccentric personality, the Rube. Sometimes during the season, or I guess you're asking why he got suspended
Yes.
so often. He was an alcoholic. His salary would only get paid to him in small bills at a time. Basically, he would just go up to his manager and ask for like $5 whenever he needed it, and his manager would give it to him that way. That's how he was paid. Because if you gave him more than that, he would be gone for several days at a time. He would get drunk,
Right.
and just not be present whatsoever. I want to say the first time he got signed for a professional team, he spent his bonus. He spent like the entirety of his bonus on alcohol within the first 2 days and got kicked off the team in that time.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I mean, he had problems for sure. He did not know how to handle alcohol, but yeah, he would get paid in very small increments of money just so he wouldn't run off and do
Right.
some dumb shit. He also this is probably my favorite fact about him. So back in the early 1900s, these players weren't getting paid like a ton, so
Right.
they had roommates whenever they were traveling, and I think at home as well. The Rube's teammate, who was his roommate, was his agent with the team. So his teammate was one that negotiated his contracts.
Right.
One time with the Athletics, this teammate refused to represent the Rube and get this contract negotiated for him, unless the Athletics put in a no eating crackers in bed clause. Like, the
So
dude,
he liked to eat crackers in bed.
so much so that he got crumbs everywhere, and it annoyed the fuck out of his teammate.
So he got crumbs. Not so okay. So wait. I mean, I don't expect you to know the answer to this, but did they have two? They had two separate beds, or did they have to sleep in the same bed?
This was while they were traveling. They were in the same bed.
Oh, so they're in the same. Okay, that makes
Yeah.
sense. Because I'm
Yeah.
like, if he wants to eat fucking crackers in his bed, who cares? But no, I agree. That's very annoying.
But it was so much of an issue that they had to. He forced the team to put that in the contract, or else he was not going to get it taken care of for.
That's a wise decision.
So, yeah. That was that. He let me see. In addition to I guess playing baseball, in the off season he would work for extra money sometimes as an alligator wrestler.
Okay.
Playing semi-pro football.
Okay.
And being a hunter for the team.
It's like, what are they, like a tribe? Like there's a designated hunter, like
literally the Cleveland Indians. No.
This is just crazy. Yeah, it's like well, because nowadays if a baseball player wanted to be like an alligator wrestler, they'd just be like, no, you can't do that because you'll get hurt. But this is just like, I mean, it's obviously a different time. This is just like crazy.
Well, the thing is, like, a lot of times he would do. Well, the hunter was like over the off season, and they did that to try and keep him out of trouble. He would sometimes do the alligator wrestling.
Give him a gun.
Yeah, no, that was the best idea to keep him out of trouble, was to
Interesting.
hand him a firearm. But I guess the reason why they wanted to do that was because he was doing the alligator wrestling also during the season. He would also, when he was on like a major league team, he would go pitch for semi-pro teams.
Just imagine,
while he was on a baseball team.
Just imagine Clayton Kershaw like alligator wrestling like between starts.
Yeah, imagine a major leaguer wrestling a wild animal.
Yes. Another discussion we can have. Yeah, which player would be the best at alligator wrestling?
Oh, Madison Bumgarner. It's not even a competition.
Are you sure? Because I think Michael Lorenzen has huge biceps. I think he could, or Yasiel
Puig.
He's very vicious.
It's Puig or Bumgarner.
Yeah. Okay,
And
that's fair.
I cannot think of two more opposite players in the league. See, the first two people who come to mind for being able to wrestle an alligator.
Yes.
Yeah.
We don't want to get too far off topic. You're just talking about alligator wrestling.
Look, man, baseball is related to everything.
Look, these are the important facts. Like, yeah, you want to know, like, you know, how good of a batter's eye a guy has, how hard he can throw. Like, could he wrestle an alligator? You never know.
Could he wrestle an alligator? They need to put that on the prospect grading scale.
I mean, that's really more necessary for, like, maybe, like, Florida teams, you know, Miami, Tampa Bay. Like, can you wrestle an alligator? You know?
Is Tampa even a Florida team at this point?
That's a good question.
They play inside. I think about going to Montreal.
Yeah.
They're whatever. They are whatever. It's relating back to the money. So he had a reputation for burning a hole in his pocket. His manager was the legendary Connie Mack when he was at the A's.
Okay. This is the
Philadelphia
A's.
Yeah, Philadelphia A's.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, this is 1904. Waddell came up to Connie Mack telling him that he had an offer from another team to pitch for them. He showed Connie Mack his bonus was a $2,000 check to prove it.
Mm-hmm.
Mac asked Waddell to give him a few hours to match the offer. Mac went to the bank, withdrew $500 in $1 bills, and offered it to Waddell. And Waddell took the $500 in cash over the $2,000 check.
Yeah, he really wasn't too bright, was he?
No, dude. He was very not smart. He was very not smart.
That's the perfect player you want. I mean, he plays really well, and he doesn't understand money. So
I mean, that's basically what the White Sox doing to all their prospects.
that's basically what every team is doing to their minor league prospect.
Acuna.
No, it was Albies. Is really, I think.
Acuna too got fucked over.
Oh really?
He signed like I think it was like an 8-year, $100 million contract.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then Albies got like what, 7 years, $35 million.
Yep.
I mean, you're still set, but.
Yeah, but I mean, he should have made way more than that.
Oh, for sure, yeah. Yeah,
They're still making more than good old Rube.
Yeah, they weren't. The teams are still exploiting the players, but this is much more blatant.
Yes.
Let me see here. I think that's pretty much the bulk of what I wanted to talk about with the Rube.
The Rube.
I guess to wrap it up, Rube was a great guy. He had a very heroic nature to him, which I think was related to the firefighting.
Yeah.
Infatuation. He would, like I said, always try to get involved with firefighting if he saw it happening. There was a somewhere said that he had saved like 10 to 12 people from drowning in his lifetime.
Wow.
Yeah. And at one point it was dark out. He was by a river and he thought someone was drowning. And so he dove in and tried to go save them. And it turned out to be a log.
Well, it's the thought that counts.
The thought that counts. It was
he saved the log. And it could have been an alligator, and he could have just started wrestling it.
If the Rube had wrestled alligators in the freezing cold Pennsylvania rivers, that would have been fucking incredible.
Yeah, that's very exciting. Well, I've looked him up now because now we've talked about him, and he was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1946. So that's lovely.
Yeah, I mean,
yes,
he had a really good career. I mean,
yeah.
Well, he was in.
At that point in 1946, I mean, there wasn't. I mean, that was like 80 years ago at this point. Yeah. So, they were looking at things from a completely different perspective than we are, because he still had great numbers, but for the time, I mean, there wasn't that many pitchers that could match his career numbers at that point. So.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was incredible. He was the pitcher of today 100 years ago.
Yeah.
What he did was, he was basically the Babe Ruth of pitching.
Yeah.
Granted, had a lot shorter career because he died 4 years after he ended pitching. I'll have to look up how he died, but I think it was related to an injury he had. He helped save Hickman, Kentucky from a devastating flood in the spring of 1912. He caught pneumonia, and then that's kind of what killed him a couple years later.
Just kind of.
Yeah, he got tuberculosis.
Just a little bit of pneumonia.
Yeah, pneumonia will cause tuberculosis, and that'll kill you. But yeah, it's sad. I mean, if he had the length of career, I mean, basically Cy Young had 2 Rube Waddell careers.
Yeah.
And if you double the Rube's numbers, it doesn't add up to Cy Young's WAR, but I mean, if he had pitched twice as long, he would have had 120 WAR career.
Wow.
Which still would have been...
That's insane.
Yeah. He gained 60 WAR from the age 20 to 33.
Jesus.
Like, that's incredible. And I guess reference, WAR is a stat. I mean, it stands for wins above replacement. It's basically the amount of wins that you directly, individually contribute to the team compared to just some dude you can get from the minor league. It sounds like a very arbitrary stat. It's a very complex stat to compute. But basically, if you're around the 70 WAR mark for your career, you're going to get pretty serious Hall of Fame consideration.
Right.
And the fact that Rube, having a career shortened by injury and his own dumb shit, amassed almost 60 WAR is incredible.
I mean, his baseball talent for the time was just awesome, and like you said, he was kind of the pitcher of today all the way back then in terms of striking guys out. So,
and to have done this by a man who was probably honestly pretty indifferent about playing baseball. Like, he had a ton of other hobbies besides baseball. He probably would have easily dropped baseball for if it didn't make him money. Like,
he probably would have dropped baseball for being a fireman.
Dude, honestly, if he had the choice, if he had a redo, he might have just said fuck it, no baseball.
Yeah. I feel bad. He never really got to be a real fireman, but he did get to rescue some people.
He did, yeah. He got to live vicariously for sure.
Yeah, that's good. Good.
Yeah. And I hope he lived a happy life. It seemed like he had a very...
He had an interesting
fulfilling
life.
Yeah, he did a lot. Yeah, as a man of many talents. Hall of Fame pitcher. 2-time ERA title. Triple Crown winner.
Poverty franchise approved.
Poverty franchise approved.
Big stamp of approval.
6-time AL strikeout leader. And in the Philadelphia Baseball Wall of Fame. Oh, wow. He played for a team called the Chicago Orphans.
That's fun.
It ended up being the Cubs. That's funny.
Oh.
They're called the Orphans. I didn't know that was a name.
It was a different time. There were some strange team names back then.
Yeah, actually, now that I think about it,
Cleveland Spiders.
There
was a St. Louis Browns.
Like mascots back when 150 years ago.
Yeah.
They would sometimes get like people that were like disabled and use them as mascots.
Oh.
Yeah. Like do like awful shit like that. So I also wouldn't be surprised they had like an actual like orphan that they used as like their mascot.
Yeah, I mean, what else is an orphan gonna do, right?
No, don't have parents.
Yeah.
Batman.
If I was an orphan, I would rather be a mascot at least. I mean, jeez.
Would you rather be a mascot or Batman?
Mascot, because Batman is just a glorified cop.
A rich glorified cop.
Yes, that's my hot take of the day.
Oh my god. I mean, that's pretty accurate.
What are we talking about, Batman?
He's an orphan.
He is yeah. God, how did we get here? Anyway.
Sorry, one last fun fact about the Rube is that he was born on Friday the 13th.
Oh.
And died on April Fool's Day.
Wow.
He
didn't really die then. Dude, it was just April Fool's.
I hope he just has been frozen in a Pennsylvania lake, and he can just pop out as the same.
It'll be like you know how they found that frozen caveman from thousands of years ago.
Yeah.
Well, that'll be Rube, and eventually they'll just find him frozen in a lake, and hopefully they'll be able to thaw him out.
They'll extract his DNA and genetically engineer the perfect pitcher.
Yes.
That was Rube.
This is an educational podcast.
This is educational.
Yes.
This is a sci-fi podcast now.
Yep.
Oh, all right. I don't know. What are your other impressions of the Rube? Is that kind of? I think we've hit everything.
Yeah, I mean,
What do you?
I didn't really know anything about him until right now. So that's pretty interesting. I think the crazy thing is like not to lessen how interesting his story is, but I feel like a lot of like old baseball players have similar stories just because of the time period, you know?
Yeah.
Like, so it's because I've read, I mean, some stories kind of about, you know, players from that era, and it's just like all of them have some sort of wacky like kind of quirk about them, you know? It's fun. It's kind of fun to read about players from that era, and you know, it's like it was so long ago that you know just sometimes forget because baseball's changed so much. But I mean, it was just like a totally different time, you know, even for baseball players. So it's just it's pretty crazy. But I mean, yeah, he's just another one of those players where, you know, just really eccentric, and you know, but he was really good. So
he was very good. Could have been one of the best. I mean, if you know things had ended up differently, we could be handing out the Rube Waddell Award.
The Rube Waddell Award. They should still give a Rube Waddell Award to the weirdest player.
The most eccentric pitcher. Honestly, I'd be all for that. I would definitely be for that. I don't know if that'd be like a good thing or a bad thing, but yeah, I mean, if the MLB really wants to, you know, reward, you know, big personalities in the game, 'cause that's, you know, something that's been discussed is what the game is lacking is personality. Is the MLB really showing that off? I think that'd be a fun thing to reward. Is just be like, you know, who's got the most interesting personality in the league.
Yeah. See, well, or you know, because they give the Roberto Clemente Award to, you know, very charitable players that do a lot for their communities and stuff. But I mean, Rube Waddell did save people from drowning, so it's like,
how many people did Roberto Clemente save from the Pennsylvania
exactly.
River?
You know, I mean, Clemente, great player, great person, super charitable, awesome.
Died too young.
Did he save any people from drowning? I don't know.
We may never know.
Not that we know of, you know. So just something to think about there.
Something to think about.
Yes.
All right. Think ready to wrap this one up?
Yes. We've talked about Rube Waddell for a considerable amount of time, so I think all of you should know enough by now because we're going to quiz you.
There's a test. It's the comments below.
Yep.
Drop it.
Comment below this audio track floating in space.
All right. So, and actually, I want to do some more of these. You know, hopefully in the off season when it's slow. And I actually haven't brought this up to you yet, but there's another story I want to talk about. I think will be very interesting. That I'm going to reveal here.
We got more stories for all of you.
We're going to talk in the future sometime about the time when 2 Yankee pitchers swapped families permanently.
So they just did that show Wife Swap, but they were way ahead of their time.
Yeah, it's like in the 70s.
That's fun.
But we'll save that for next time. Get ready for this shit. Baseball's fun, man.
It's just like, hey man, it's like your wife's pretty hot. It's like, thanks man, yours is pretty hot too. It's like, you think what I'm thinking? It's like,
dude, you joke about that, but that's basically how it happened.
all right,
let's get out this shit.
Yeah,
we're signing off.
Yes.
Thank you for listening.
I have to go take a shower.
He's got to take a shower. I don't shower. I love the environment. Good night.
All right.